All right. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 1:10 p.m.
I gotta leave in like 20 minutes. Uh, there we go. So, well, I gotta turn my phone. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 1 p.m. By the way, I am trying to respond from the right place.
She's not ready. All right, so I'm painting a white dragon.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Alexa. This is my white dragon. He's one of them whiz kids. I think he's an adult dragon, white dragon. He's certainly not an ancient white dragon. He's really not. Honestly, it's interesting. He looks beatable, don't you think? I mean, as dragons go, I'm like, I mean, it's a big lizard, right? It's a big lizard, but oh, I forgot. I actually I forgot. I fixed my camera. It was upside down, and I was showing it to you backwards, and I'm like, oh wait, no, I could show it to you like I look at it now instead of like what looks good for you. I'm a very new streamer. I'm running the Tyranny of Dragons right now, and I am chapter 2 Raiders Camp. We're almost to the camp, and I wanted to do a little painting today. And this dragon, this guy, is he might make an appearance in this campaign, but it would just be sort of like an entrance sort of a thing, because in the written version of Tyranny of Dragons, the second release, there was it was originally in two different modules. There was the Horde of the Dragon Queen, and I forget what the second one was called. But then they combined them into one book, and they retitled it Tyranny of Dragons. And in the second half, they have a white dragon that appears, and there's actually two white dragons, to be honest with you. I'm looking for my right brush for this. Here it is. There's two white dragons. There's one where they go up to the. This is set in the spine of the world, and in the Forgotten Realms. So that's the first white dragon, and then the second white dragon comes in. No, it is. It is in the first book. It is in Horde of the Dragon Queen. You're right, because there is a white dragon. And again, spoilers for anybody who wants to play. If you're interested in DMing it, I think this is going to be a great channel. I am not making this channel specifically about Tyranny of Dragons. I'm making it. I'm making it to document being a first-time dungeon master, and as I always say, I've run some one-shots, a few of them. I even wrote one, a Christmas-themed one, but I haven't DM'd a campaign. And so, Tyranny of Dragons is going to be it for me. So, anyway, there is a white dragon at the, again, spoilers, the end of the first half. And are we gonna make him the same as the second white dragon, or is there only one white dragon? Or do I upgrade? Like, this is my first white dragon. And then the second one, they're like, oh, we've beaten a white dragon before, right? And so they will be quite confident. But they're like, oh, are you going to use the same mini? Well, I could. That was a white dragon. And the one you're facing now is a white dragon. But I don't think it would be fair to use the same mini. It might give you the wrong idea, like that this one is going to be as easy as the last one. Right? So, and again, I play an in-person table, okay? I DM for 6 players that show up every Friday night at the same location, mostly. And play. This is to not say that this way of or my way of playing is superior anyway. But it's significant to me, and I don't want to play online. And part of that is this stuff. This for me is part of the hobby, right? The stuff. I like the stuff. And I play with mostly, again, all, around the table players, but I play with younger people. I know even younger than me, and they're playing. I'm like, yeah, thank you. That looks good. And they're all, they have their phones out, and they got everything's on D&D Beyond. Their player characters and stuff like that. And one of the players came to me one day, or one of the individuals came to me one day, and he had started really same time I had. And he's like, maybe one of these days, you'll show me how to make a character pen and paper. And I'm like, well, you started when I started. Yeah. I'm like, you bought all the books. I mean, you bought all the physical books. This kid, he wasn't a kid, but this individual, younger than me, says, no, yeah, but I got him on D&D Beyond too. I'm like, oh, so I'm see. So you've never made a character out of the book. You've always made a character on D&D Beyond. And because it's certainly faster, easier, that type of thing, than rolling it paper and pencil style. And so I'm being a little heavy with this first coat of white, because again, it's a white dragon, so it's going to be white, right? So let's just not pretend that's not going to happen. And so black isn't going to be something that usually I like a lot of black, but this I'm going to be try to be pretty judicious with, because I want to make sure, but I also want to make sure the white pops, and that's sometimes the problem with your white. Okay, I think I'm ready for another sploosher. I'm sure this is all dry. Why not get a wet palette? I should do that. I played around with it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is better. Ooh, that's a lot. It's more economical or whatever it is. And I can't say you're wrong. But I don't know. I like to ruin my brushes. What can I say? Anyway, and so so I understand that people, even people who play physically, like D&D Beyond and other similar things, are very helpful as far as speeding some things along, right? And certainly, we all know that D&Ds and some things in D&D should be sped along, combat. But even when I say that, my initial thought is that it's also not true, you know, because it is true. Like combat. Okay, so combat could definitely be sped up in certain ways for certain people, right? You're like, everybody. Well, not necessarily. I mean, I know when, as a player, okay, this is not as DM, as a player, I looked up spells uh, online on my phone, because especially in one shots, when you're not that familiar with maybe your character or your class, your spells and your stuff like that, I'm not going to memorize all these things for a one shot character. So I just have them. What I would do is, because I don't like D&D Beyond. I don't like using it. So I just bookmarked, like I'm old, so I bookmark things on my computer. All the spells. So if I'm playing some wacky thing, I there's the spells, and there they are, easily accessible on my computer. And there you go. And so it's faster. Yes. So absolutely. Now, is faster inherently better? I don't know. Honestly, I'm experiencing all sorts of things in life that make. I actually need to turn up the light here. I know it was washing out the fully white guy earlier, but now that he's not, because I was doing tests with the camera here on the White Dragon, and I felt I had to make it darker so you guys could see it, because it was just completely blooming out and you couldn't see any texture. That was on, well, I guess the pre-primed, I was going to say unprimed version of it, but these Whiz Kids models, they come primed, and I think that's such a the pre-priming assumes that it's ready to be primed. Okay, the pre-prime models should be ready to paint. Okay, and I've done a few of these Whiz Kids now that are quote unquote pre-primed when you buy them, and they don't have the little nits and bits that you probably can't even see that. The nits and bits that you'll see if you buy someone who, or a mini or miniature that was painted or printed on a 3D printer, right? Because they have all those little attachment barbs. And I don't do shadow. I don't do any of that shit. I don't do the lighting. But I do it where I think it looks cool. And I watch a lot of the master painter people. Wow. So these guys are insane. I don't want to paint like that. I don't paint like that. And if you're like, you don't want to follow the rules and do it this way, and this is the way it makes it look the best, because that's the way blah 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 with color and paint and blah blah blah. God bless you. God bless you if you think that. That just doesn't happen to be. I don't know. I just I've learned a lot of things in my life. I could learn how to paint that like that. I've lived many years on this planet just painting the way I like to paint because that's how I was taught to do art. I was taught to do art by an old lady. I'd come to the art school, which was her house. Her name was Dorothy. I'd go to her house with all the other kids after school. It was her house, and her whole house was filled with art supplies and art that she had made, that kids had made. Uh, maybe somewhere was purchased. I have no idea. Maybe something was $1 million Picasso. You couldn't really tell because there was so much art everywhere and art being made and art making supplies, you know? And she said, okay, here, go. And if you had a question, how to do something, where something was, if you were discouraged or you didn't, whatever, she was there with like, here, yeah, this is how you do it. And she did beautiful things. And she made art. When she wasn't helping other kids, she was just sitting there with us, making art with us. What a beautiful woman she was. I'm sure she must be long since dead. Um, I I miss her. It's funny. You don't think about these things very often, but I miss Dorothy. That was a beautiful time in my life. Oh, yeah, I do miss her. And that's how she taught me how to do art. Just use it, just do it, have fun. Now, see, here's where I think I'm going to stop. I could go. I could give it just for a little balance sake. There's some balance issues. I do want it to be balanced because I wanted it to look like a real creature. That's like over here, and so the real creature over here isn't necessarily sitting next to lava, so he has a lava glow. He's flying around, and so especially this one. I mean, this is him in his native land, right? So it's not there's not a lot to his surroundings. So he's just doing his thing. He's flying, he's patrolling. Now, well, so this particular guy, I'd have to look up his name. This particular guy lives in a frozen cloud giant castle that's flying through the air, as they do. And I generally don't paint with my glasses. For just this reason, I guess I have. Sorry, folks. I do have bifocals, but these were my first time bifocals, and my optometrist said, "I'll make it weak so you get a chance to get used to them." Well, that's terrible. I keep my glasses way too long for that. He should have just given me the whole kit and caboodle. But that's fine. So I'm using basically this. I like to do chop because I like to use what the model has already given me. Okay, so I got to go get my kids from school. Alexa off, but that's actually good because I'm basically done here, and I think it looks friggin' great. I think right. I think he looks great. I'll get this down. Let's see. And again, this isn't this is going to cover up blue. I tried. I don't know if you could see it. I had to file down some of his teeth because they were so rubbery looking, and I still think I need to do a little work on them. Because again, the teeth on these WizKid dragons. Let me try to get so you can see the back. Is not like this dragon clearly needs to go. Here, let me. Sorry. To the dragon dentist, right? I mean, there's just a few clumps. I don't know. It looks okay. Anyway, and I've already cut them down a little bit because they just look like chiclets coming out of its head. And I think the mouth is pretty important. Maybe I'll make him giving a breathing, because he's so boring. He's just swooping in, and maybe if he's like right, and there's some sort of something that comes out like as a cone, and I would this, or maybe I'm breaking my own rule because usually it's like this is the cutoff in the world, but I guess that's from down. So I don't know. There's a cliff here. Who the hell knows? Do what makes you happy. I'm happy with it though. I think this is the first glimpse of what he's going to, and that's another reason why I like to do the slap chop, because sometimes you have slap chop method, which is paint it black and then do basically what I did with different layers of lighter, and then you fill it in with a contrast paint. The slap chop gives you a better appreciation of the actual detail on the model. And I generally like the models better when I do it, and sort of it gives me an idea of what their personality is. And that I think usually lends to me being more inventive and giving it more personality than it otherwise might have. So pretty good. I'm happy. But the children need to be gotten. I will clean my brushes better when I get home. And see you all later. Bye. Any sort of after comments are always appreciated. I'm just starting. I don't have any sort of following, but whatever. Here we go.